Welcome back to Dr. Sellers Educate as we continue on our series exploring the NLN Hallmarks of Excellence. If this is the first episode that you're joining us for, just know that there are 3 previous episodes that you do want to stop and take a look at after you review the content here. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel so every single time there's a new episode, you'll be notified right away. We also appreciate the likes that you have been providing to us as part of the feedback as we continue to work on curriculum to help you bridge and really close your knowledge gaps as it relates to not only being successful on the CNE exam, but also being a better nurse educator. In this episode, we're going to continue to look at these hallmarks of excellence that really are building and reinforcing the solid foundation that we should have in our nursing program, as well as in our role as a nurse educator, to help us ensure we are demonstrating and providing excellence in nursing education. That is the ultimate goal for all of us. So let's go ahead and take a look at the content that we will be exploring during this episode. First, we just want to share the Hallmarks of Excellence in Nursing Education model. This is published by NLN. The specific tenet that we're going to be taking a look at is innovative evidence-based approaches to facilitate and evaluate learning, exploring the various strategies that we want to implement in our learning experiences that we develop for our students, knowing that our students are very diverse. Multi-generations are in our classroom now. There are students with multicultural situations that we want to be sensitive to, as well as the gender influences that may affect the students' learning experience. So our goal is to create an inclusive learning environment where all of our students feel welcome and where we promote civility in creating a safe learning space for our students. All right, so now we're going to take a look at our practice test question. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, we are going to look at it together. And we encourage you to pause the video whenever you get to the point where we are, where you're trying to decide the best choice in the list of questions. We want you to pause the video and then come back whenever you're ready to go over that content with us. M. Bailey shared with us that she was very satisfied with the success and the support we were able to provide to her. She says, Dr. Sellers Educate is by far the most informative program that I attended in preparing for the CNE exam. I signed up for the self-paced review boot camp and took advantage of all the free YouTube educational videos. I also purchased the CNE and CNE study workbooks, great personal support from Dr. Sellers A+. We appreciate the feedback that you give to us. It is our mission. Our core mission is to support every single nurse educator to become certified by NLN. If there are resources that you need to clarify with us, whether or not you should use them, email us, info@drsellerseducate.com. We align all of our curriculum, all of the recommendations with the NLN standards. Okay, so taking a look at hallmark number 5, again, exploring what teaching strategies that are aligned with the evidence should we be integrating into our everyday learning experiences that we are designing for our students, and which of those evaluation strategies look like. Okay, so we are going to, again, provide a snapshot for you. There is a community available to you where we meet 1 to 2 times every single month for about an hour. We dig deeper into this content. Our YouTube episodes are to provide supplemental resources and content to help you close your knowledge gaps consistently. Okay, so take a look at our 7-week study plan. You're going to find that right here in the description. Okay, whether you're listening to us on the podcast or if you are watching us on YouTube. Okay, both of these channels provide additional context in the description where you can find all of these resources to help you be successful. All right, so let's take a look at our practice question. So which action best facilitates the learner's ability to apply theory to practice? The content that we're reviewing in this snapshot, as well as this practice question, is mapped back and aligned to several competencies: facilitate learning, as well as learner development and socialization, curriculum, change agent and leader, and scholarship. Okay, so it's mapped back to all of those competencies. All right, so if you want to pause the video at this point and then come back when you're ready. The correct answer is going to be B, requesting the weekly course content outline from the lead course educator. Did you get the right answer? If you did, we are excited for you. And if you didn't, we don't want you to stress out about it. Okay, the most important takeaway is that you understand why you did not choose B and why the other choices were not the best way to facilitate learners' ability to help bridge that theory to practice. If theory is a gap area for you, make sure that you are using the resources to help you be successful. Okay, so head over to our website if you haven't been there, drsellerseducate.com. You're going to see a lot of different ways that we can support you to help you close your knowledge gaps, okay? Because there will be several questions on the CNE, CNE-CL, and CNE novice exams related to learning theory. So let's talk a little bit about the rationale. So if the clinical nurse educator is aware of the course content that is taught in the classroom, then they can better develop clinical assignments and design them to align with the course content. The NCLEX is all about application, right? We want students from a cognitive domain to understand the concepts, and we want to be able to integrate teaching strategies aligned with constructivism learning theory, so students are able to put those puzzle pieces together in a way that allows them to provide safe nursing practices, okay? This practice is going to allow for the clinical nurse educator to facilitate discussions and clinical activities to apply classroom knowledge to practice. Patricia Benner is another great theorist that talks a lot about this work. It's important for us to introduce these concepts, introduce clinical application in the classroom. We cannot wait until students arrive in the skills lab, into the sim lab, and definitely not in the clinical space to introduce clinical application. We start by integrating unfolding case studies, and also we can use other teaching strategies such as role playing, really to introduce interaction amongst students in a simulated type of way to better prepare students for the clinical experiences that they are going to have. Okay, so obtaining this information from the lead course educator could be optimum as an option B. Option A is relying on learner recall and may not accurately indicate the classroom content. Option C is based on the possibility of performing clinical skills rather than specific knowledge content in the classroom. And lastly, D did not even consider current classroom content. This practice question is aligned with the cognitive code application. Okay, so thinking about the Bloom's taxonomy level for the cognitive domain, the specific resources that are going to help you, just as a hint of what you will get if you join us for a more in-depth review of this content area. You're going to look at Billings and Halstead, specifically looking at page 188, starting there, for the learning domains and Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, again, if you need additional context, you want to make sure that you use the resources that we have identified here in the description for you. All right, so now let's close out by taking a look at some additional content that you will need to consider as you are working on closing your knowledge gaps. Remember, the pass rate is not great. Okay, that's what brought you here to Dr. Sellers Educate channel, I'm sure. And we want to equip you with all of the knowledge that you need to help you be successful on the exam. Okay, so this is the Hallmarks of Excellence document. You're going to see 3 different areas that are aligned with Hallmark number 5. The first one is using strategies to facilitate and evaluate learning by a diverse student population are innovative and varied. What questions can you ask yourself to ensure that you are indeed aligned with this specific Hallmark number 5, Hallmark of Excellence as it relates to the nursing education model? First question, to what extent are strategies to facilitate learning varied to meet the needs of diverse student populations? What do we mean by that? We know that each individual student learns differently. One important step is making sure that we are engaging students by using the Knowles adult learning theory and self-awareness about their learning preferences. How can we do that? By providing a learning preference or learning style inventory tool. There are several out there that are free. If you're curious, email us or join us in one of our review sessions and we go over those details and provide additional context for you. Okay, so how do you use this tool? You want to continue to go through Hallmark number 5, taking a look at some of the questions and the context aligned with this specific Hallmark number, and then just doing a self-evaluation of us, each other as nurse educators, but also within our nursing program. The goal is that we are improving our nursing program as well as improving our development, specifically looking at our opportunities for improvement to become a better nurse educator. All right. And then lastly, as we close out, you want to take a look at your specific exam. You see here the candidate handbook. So there's one on NLN website. Let me see if I can go back out and go back in, and hopefully you all will indeed be able to see the screen that I'm looking at. Okay, I think we should be all set now. So this is the CNE-CL candidate handbook. You want to go back and look at the specific competencies that are aligned with each of these YouTube episodes that you're reviewing. And if you're in our self-paced course, this is another way that you can make sure you stay on track, okay? And then if you are on the journey for the CNE novice, same thing, you have your own candidate handbook. You can find these resources right on the NLN website. And then, of course, if you are on the journey towards your CNE, then you would have your handbook as well to be able to take a look at the resources that are available here for you to do your self-assessment. All right, so reach out to us if that's a little fuzzy for you. And then our last resource that we want to take a look at is going to be the study handbook. Okay, so Dr. Sellers Educate has a study handbook available for you, whether you're on the journey for CNE or CNE clinical. Okay, so we have both of the resources that are available, and I'm just going to share. This is the CNE candidate handbook. Each of these candidate handbooks has a detailed test blueprint of which you are doing a self-assessment. This is the tool you're going to use to do the self-assessment, and then you can decide where your gap areas are. This is going to be the guideline to help you with your 7-week study plan. Okay, if you're not familiar with the 7-week study plan, I'm going to show you just a snapshot of it here. This 7-week study plan is going to help you stay focused as you move forward. The first step is identifying what are my gap areas. The second step is going to be developing the study 7-week study plan, of which we go over in our review program. But after you do your self-assessment, you're going to be able to identify how many hours do I need to spend to ensure that I'm closing my knowledge gaps? How many hours do I need to study the content to ensure that I'm ready to sit for that CNE exam? Less than 80%. Right now is 69% of nurse educators are successful on the CNE exam. Less than 80% on the CNE clinical. Okay, we haven't seen publication for the CNE novice, but that's what we know today. We want to make sure that you're maximizing the time that you're using to close your knowledge gaps on your 7-week study journey. Now, 7 weeks may be a numerical time frame for you, or it may be a theoretical time frame. 7 weeks may be equivalent to 6 months, and that's okay. We just want to help you stay on track by making sure you're closing your knowledge gaps week over week. And one way that you're able to do that is by having a solid study plan. All right, so this is going to wrap up our time together for tonight. Or for this episode. And if you have other questions, just reach out to us. You can reach us here at info@drsellerseducate.com. And as always, you want to make sure that you are clarifying any questions that you have in this episode by sending us an email or by joining us during one of our monthly boot camps or monthly review sessions. All right, well, I hope this video has been helpful, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.